I'm a solo mum flipping furniture to fund my dream home. So when my neighbour told me that this was sitting on the curb a couple of doors down, I knew I had to grab it. Unfortunately, this one was particle board on the top, so I tried to get it off with my chisel and went to my jigsaw to actually cut the top off. It would not budge. So my little Azito had some trouble getting through this. I don't know if I was hitting nails or what, but we ended up getting there in the end. So apart from the actual top and a few of those panels on the side, this was solid timber. So I took off that edge piece, blew all that sawdust out, removed the hinges and the doors before cleaning everything with crud cutter. It's really important when you're prepping a piece of furniture that you get all of that dirt and grime off. So use a really good degreaser. Crud cutter is amazing, but you also want to make sure that you're getting any residue off from the product you've used as well. So unfortunately, I couldn't get those screws out at the baseboard. So I just sanded with 120 grit and knew that I would be painting over them. Now initially I wasn't going to paint the inside of this piece, but then it was a bit of an afterthought and I decided to paint the inside. So I scuff sanded everything, all of the shelves, all of the sides before de-dusting and getting around with my vacuum cleaner just to all of the nooks and crannies to make sure there was nothing there. Now this is me mixing up my primer. I used a water-based primer for this one. This is the Zinza Blue, so it's the water-based primer. I did water it down, making sure not to water it down too much. If you do water this one down too much, then you won't get the tannin blocking capabilities. So if you want to do a quick flip, then I would recommend using the bin shellac primer, which is the red one, or the yellow, which is the oil-based primer. If you want to get tannin blocking capabilities with this one, you do have to leave it to set at least overnight. So overnight with this piece, I had inspiration to actually flip this into a kitchen island. It was tall, it had a good working height, so I got my measuring tape out with some scrap pieces of wood that we had left over from a renovation and I started cutting. I made sure that everything was removed off the back, all of that plyboard wasn't there, and there were a few nails that I had to get in. Now for some reason they wouldn't actually remove, so I ended up just tacking them in before sanding everything down super smooth. Now I did need a couple of little pieces of trim to just neaten everything up. So I had two pieces that would be on the top and the bottom, and then I just wanted to join them here. How's my little helper? So as you can see, I've got my top board and my baseboard, and this was that middle board in between. So I rounded off all of the corners of the new timber, attached them, plugged up all of the holes, sped up my dry time a little bit with a hairdryer, sanded everything smooth again, and then I went and I actually primed with Zinza oil-based primer in the aerosol can. So this was just for the pieces that I had missed because I changed my mind on what I actually wanted to do with this piece. Now this was me applying my paint wash on my top. What a fumble. Anyway, I ended up saving it pretty quickly, but I had to move fast just to make sure that it wasn't streaky and there weren't any spots. Now I sanded my top with 400 grit sandpaper, got all of the dust off, did a 400 grit sandpaper across my entire piece, and then worked with my Porter's Paints Aquasatin in Irish linen on the rest of the piece. I lined up my handles with my Craig jig, and this was me actually attaching the top. So I glued it down and then I went ahead and screwed it on as well. So I put the hinges on with the doors, got them in, laid the piece down and attached some caster wheels as well. I went ahead and sanded the top again before applying my paint wash, and yes, I did get the dust off before I did this. And this is the finished result. It's functional, it's a kitchen island, it could be a sideboard. I love that you can flip it around. The paneling is a really nice detail. The brushed brass handles and that neutral top, it all really works together. I could see this one in anyone's home. What do you think?